guys, what's up? It's Jonathan with One Big Impact. So today is actually going to be a video on why do I always end up in toxic relationships. And this is not only a question for myself, but this is something that I've personally dealt with my entire life, and I wanted to cover this because I feel that it's a really big thing, and I think that it's one of those things that kind of just gets slipped under the rug, and not too many people really truly discuss it and in depth, and I want to work on this on myself, as well as I feel that others could benefit from it too. So let's get started. Okay, so the first reason I feel that it can be a huge factor in a lot of people's lives why they end up in a toxic relationship is for the simple fact that it's a learned behavior. A lot of people have seen that in their childhood, or seen it in their close family, or seen that it is a quote acceptable behavior, and they've seen other people that they love and cherish, true to them and close to them in their family, follow this type of cycle of relationships, and then they feel that that is a normal type of thing. Now, we all know probably that that's not necessarily true, although it's a lot harder when you've actually been in a situation, whether you've seen a mom, a dad, a sister, a brother, or somebody close to you, see them do the cycle over and over again. It becomes extremely difficult and increasingly hard to recognize it when it's happening to yourself. So that usually is one of the first causes that I feel that gets us in that bad situation. It's gonna probably sound a little bit weird, but the best way I can put the next one, number two, is not doing enough research on the person that you're pursuing, or the person that's pursuing you. So something that could be a major factor is you probably put more research into the next TV you're gonna buy, or the next pair of shoes you're gonna buy. I'll tell you what, it takes me about 6 months to pick a shoe that I'm about to go into if I change my shoe. Now that's a long time. Now, do I spend that much time finding a person that I'm going to potentially spend my life with? Probably not. Unfortunately, we act on those immediate feelings and things like that. If I acted on the immediate feelings of every TV purchase or every shoe purchase, and I know that sounds horrible, trying to get you to understand the contrast between the two, but it's really that simple. If you think about how serious that can be, you are picking somebody for your entire life. Shouldn't you spend more time making sure that's the right person rather than just jumping into it overnight? I think so. Okay, so I understand initial attraction is probably one of the most important things when you're finding somebody to spend your life with. I understand that, and it is really important to me and others, okay? I understand that, but think about it like this. You were gonna purchase shoes and you were gonna purchase a TV. You spent time looking, right? You spent maybe, I don't know, 2-3 weeks making sure you made the right purchase. You researched it a little bit, you went online, checked the reviews and everything like that, right? Right. In this day and age, I think it's important that we stop and think, okay? Stop and think, hey, is this the right thing for me? Is this person healthy for my life? Is this person actually going to benefit me? Are they going to push me towards my goals and dreams, or are they going to drag me down? Think of it like a home purchase. How long does it take you to buy a home? 6 months? A year? Sometimes 5 years? 10 years? Half a lifetime? Think about it. If you were to purchase a home, it's going to be a lifetime thing, right? Now, I'm not saying put somebody through all these different types of things. Obviously, human connection is a little bit quicker, more compact than that. But if you're going to make a lifetime change by buying or purchasing a home, don't you think you should put a little bit more time and effort into not purchasing, but picking someone that you want to spend your life with? I think that's really important that you stop, read the reviews, and look at who this person really is. Maybe ask them, hey, how did your past relationships go? It's okay to ask things like that. Hey, if they say, hey, I was kind of violent with this girl, or this guy used to beat me up and I had a hard time leaving him or whatever. Some of those things you kind of need to look for. They could say it was I got arrested for domestic violence, assault and battery. I'm serious. A lot of people will just straight up tell you that how crazy it was. And no, that doesn't mean that your relationship with that person will necessarily be that way. But it definitely means you should probably look a little bit further into the person that you're getting with. You don't want to wait until it's too late to be able to get out of the relationship. The next thing is that you've seen your parents do these type of things in their relationships. So they not only show you that it's acceptable behavior, which it's not, but your threshold for crazy is way up here when it should be right down here. Certain things should not be acceptable, you know. First of all, violence. That is definitely something that you need to stay away from completely. If you ever even get in screaming matches with people, and you will do that occasionally, I understand that. But if it happens more than, 4 or 5 times a year, it's probably a toxic relationship and it's not healthy. If you ever put hands on each other, you need to get out of the relationship right away. It's not safe. Even if you saw that when you were growing up, it's not okay. I'm sorry. It's not okay for somebody to emotionally abuse you. It's not okay for somebody to make you feel like you're not worth something, because you really are. No matter who you are, even if you've done bad things in the past or you have something going on with you or whatever, you have to remember that, hey, regardless of what you were before, today you are a great human being, and you have to realize that you deserve the absolute best of treatment and a good relationship, a positive one that empowers you to move towards a better future. Number 4 is your standards are too low. And I know you're probably like, what are you talking about? I've been with great looking women or great looking men or whatever. It's a lot more than that. First of all, your standards could be really low, and that might not be based on looks necessarily, but it could be. A lot of the times we don't want to shoot for, the moon, as far as, because we want to do what's comfortable. We want to, there's a little, I don't know if it's an algorithm or whatever it is, but there's something that they say if you consider yourself 1 through 10, if you consider yourself a 5, you should probably be with a 5. If you consider yourself an 8, maybe you should be with an 8. You never want to really go, to a 10 or to a 3 or whatever. And I know that sounds kind of crazy, but the same people probably want to stick with the same people. As far as if you consider yourself a 9, you should be with a 9, because or a 10 or an 8. You don't want to go for a 3, and I'm not saying that to by any means make anybody feel bad or less significant, because outer beauty has nothing to do with inner beauty. Let me be very clear on that. Just because you're a beautiful person out here does not mean you're a beautiful person inside. A lot of people that are extremely gorgeous take that for granted, and there's some that don't. But they take it for granted, and they think that their outer beauty makes them have the ability to be shitty to people, and it definitely does not. But being told you're beautiful all your life sometimes can screw up your head and make you think that you don't have to live up to standards because you're already pretty. It's whatever. So definitely don't think that. But what I'm getting at, not to elaborate too much on this, but if I feel I'm a 7, let's say, then I want to go for an 8, a 7, or a 6. I don't want to go with anything outside of that. Maybe in reality I'm a 4. But if I feel that I'm a 7, I want to go for a 6, a 7, or an 8 as far as exterior characteristics. And the reason I say that is because if you say you're a 3 but you have a great personality and you're awesome, and a lot of the times you'll see somebody that you think is not as pretty as their mate or whatever, or not as great looking as their boyfriend is or whatever, but they match on the same level as far as how they feel about themselves, or their personality excels, or whatever it is. So you can't ever judge that from the outside necessarily. But the reality of what I'm getting at is, don't be afraid to push for more. Go for quality, not quantity. You know, if you feel that you deserve nothing more than the person you're getting with, then you need to take a step back and think, hey, I do deserve more. I do deserve what I'm actually looking for. Yes, there will be some circumstances in relationships and life where there is a give and take. You know, you take some good, you get some good. You know what I mean? Like, you have to, it's a give and take. Certain things you can be okay with, but not everything. Not everything. You definitely don't want to have such low standards just because you don't feel that you can do better. Because in reality, you can. It's not about the numbers or whatever. And I know that sounds crazy. You're probably going to be like, well, screw your numbers idea. I've done a lot of research on it. It really does make sense. That's why you usually see two really great looking people matched up together. And if you see two really kind of average people, they're matched up together. It's just because it works. It really does. If you go outside of that realm, it's a proven fact. Huge jealousy issues, huge incomplete issues. You don't feel a sense of being. You don't feel as important. There's just so many problems with it. But what I'm saying is, don't settle for less than what you think you're worth, because you're worth a lot more than you probably think you are. Okay, number 5 is, first of all, I'm going to personally accept that not all of you are going to be exactly on target with everything I say. I'm okay with that. I understand. We're all different. Not all my views are perfect. Not all anybody else's views are perfect. Just remember that, hey, I'm giving you the best knowledge that I have, that I've learned from previous things, as far as relationships, life skills, and such. A lot of research that I've done, that I've been through, and that I will go through goes into this. So the next thing is, you've never healed through previous bad relationships. Now what I mean by when I say that is, and obviously it's kind of cut straightforward, but if you went from one relationship to the next relationship to the next relationship, and you're like, I'm a serial dater, and you think that's funny, that's cool, I get it. Some people can do it successfully with no problems. But I'll say, if you're going from one relationship to another, something's wrong, and it's probably not working for you. You need to take a step back and think about it for a little bit. You need to think about what's going on. Were you in a relationship that was really negative? Did you go from one negative relationship to another negative relationship to another negative relationship without actually giving yourself time to heal? Now, I felt it took me years after my marriage to be able to heal from that. A lot of people will go from a really long distance relation, or a really long span of a relationship, say they're in a relationship for 8-10 years, and they will go directly into another 2-year relationship. Well, at the end of that 2-year relationship, you not only is it a huge learning process, but you will understand that it was way too fast and you probably should have not jumped into it. If you don't heal personally within yourself, and actually tell yourself, hey, what was I looking for? You know, what was these bad things that I was kind of triggering for? I'll tell you what, before I get into a relationship now with anybody, I always ask myself, and I ask them, hey, what are you looking for? What's your long term? You know, become kind of friendly with the person, because it's important that you have the same values. If you don't, it's not going to work. And also, as far as the previous things go, you really, really, really need to learn from your mistakes and heal and work towards not repeating those negative circumstances over and over and over again. That's the definition of insanity. Doing the same exact thing, expecting a different result. So if you're jumping into something too fast before healing from previous stuff, you need to pull back, isolate yourself, work on yourself. And it's not that you're the problem, but you do need to grow through what you go through. Seriously. Number 6 is you're just not ready. And I know that sounds pretty basic and cut dry, but I'm being completely honest. You have some type of purpose that has not been fulfilled yet, and maybe a relationship or something like that could potentially derail you or get in the way of your actual purpose in life. Now, I'm not saying my purpose or anybody else's purpose in particular, but what I'm saying is you have something that you're working on, whether it's maybe you're working on your degree, maybe you're working on excelling your career, maybe you're working on a very, very, very important aspect of raising children, and it's a sensitive subject or it's a sensitive situation with your kid's father or your kid's mother or whatever that may be. That could be something that you need to work out before you're able to get into a happy relationship. This next one should be a big one for a lot of us, and I apologize if the lighting's a little bit off. I didn't want to get that blinding in my face, but looking for love. Now, we all want to look for that happy relationship and be in a great, loving companionship, partnership for life, right? Right. But when you're looking for love, you're going to see love in things that are not. You may feel lust, you may feel a want, you may feel a need to have something fulfilled in your life. But unfortunately, if you're looking for love, you're looking for the wrong thing. It's okay to date, it's okay to look for somebody to spend time with, but if you're looking for love and you're looking for a loving long-term relationship in everybody you see, you're going to see, it's like when you buy a car. That car is in your mind, right? And you suddenly, never before, but suddenly you see this car everywhere. You're like, oh, I got this Chevy truck, and now I see this Chevy truck here, I see this Chevy truck here, oh my god, it's my favorite color, this is that. Okay, when you got love on the mind, and you're like suddenly, oh my gosh, I love this person has something I love about him, oh my gosh, this is a great thing. So you see what I'm saying? Like, I know that's hard to adapt those two things together, but it really does make sense. If you're looking for love, you're gonna find it, but you're gonna find the wrong kind. So definitely keep that in mind. You're meeting people in the wrong places. Now, I know you've heard this before and you'll hear it again, but if you like to drink, I understand, that's cool, I do too. But if you're meeting people in the bars, bad idea. People that you meet in the bars, sometimes it works out, sometimes it really does. But a lot of the times it's somebody that likes to drink socially. And if you're just doing it as an occasional thing, but this person's, a bar flyer or something like that, maybe it's not gonna work out. If they can't cope, if they're an alcoholic, that could be an issue. Maybe you're just going out on Friday night, maybe they're not. Maybe that is their regular place. Ask yourself right away when you're meeting that person, hey, how often do you go out? It's a simple question. Obviously, if they say, I'm here every day, I live here, deuces, peace out, keep that in mind. The next thing is, the other places that you don't want to meet people, NA meetings, the drug house. You would think these are really obvious, but I mean, yes, you can meet people there because you'll have major things in common. But if you got drug dependencies or things like that, please don't meet people in those situations because you could end up in a really worse off situation. Not only are you going from one dependency to the next, now you're depending on somebody that has a dependency on something else. So please be careful on that. The next, number 9 is your self-esteem or your self-worth is basically shit, and you think that that's all you deserve. You think this toxic relationship is the best thing that could possibly be in your future. And I hate to be the bearer of the bad news, but it's not. You deserve a beautiful life. You deserve to live a life of fulfillment. You deserve to be loved. You deserve to be cherished. You deserve to be spoiled if you want to be spoiled. You deserve companionship. You deserve caring. You deserve all of those things. And you are worthy of all of those things. If you have low self-esteem, work on yourself. Go exercise. Get on a health plan. Do something. Get your nails done. Get your hair done. Do something that makes you feel better about yourself. If it's because people around you are dragging you down and making you feel bad about yourself, then get away from those people. But it's important that you realize that your self-worth is going to transfer into a relationship or a toxic relationship, and you can't let that happen. The next thing is, everyone says that the person that you're dating is great. And that may be true. That may be very true. And you may be telling yourself over time, you know what, they treat me like crap, this is a bad relationship, but everybody says this is a great person. I think he's probably a great person, or she's probably a great person, so I should stay here. They might be very well a great person, but that does not mean in any way, shape, or form that they're a great person for you. So it's important that you make the difference and understand the difference between the two things, because there is a huge difference. Many people are great when they're with the right person. Many people are great alone. Many people are great in many aspects, but that doesn't mean that that person's not great or that person is great for you. Those all don't fit together all the time. Just because you're not compatible doesn't mean that person's horrible or I'm horrible or whatever. It's just, that's the way it is. The next thing is number 12. I know, there's a lot of reasons that you end up in a toxic relationship. I know. Number 12 is you feel guilty for the other person because they can't survive without you. Now, first of all, if they rely heavily on you, you're not in a relationship, you got another fucking kid. And I don't mean to say that in the sense of, hey, if you got a breadwinner, you got somebody that provides and one that cares for the house. That's one thing, I understand that. But if this person relies on you so heavily, like you have a relationship where you are both supposed to be working, you are both supposed to be providing, you are both supposed to be doing the housework, you're both supposed to be taking care of the kids, you're both supposed to be doing chores, you're both supposed to be going shopping, and only one person is holding up half of that bargain. First of all, you probably should have discussed this in the beginning of the relationship. If you didn't, it's probably your fault. I'm not saying you're the horrible person, but I'm just saying, sometimes these things go unspoken, and all relationships should be 50-50. Or I like to say 100-100. I've learned from personal bad experiences on my end, on other people's end. I've been the person that was not a good partner. I've been the person that was the good partner. And I've learned a lot from both sides of the ends of the spectrum. So it's definitely important. If that person is not holding up their end of the relationship, it's important that you cut it off and get the hell out of there. Because they're not going to change. It's not going to change. Nothing is going to change except for the things that you change. Because if you are the one holding up all the weight of all the relationship and they are not doing their end of the bargain, unfortunately, not only are you going to buckle under the pressure and the stress over time, but you deserve somebody to be able to push just as hard as you are on the other side. If you're not equally putting up, the same amount of goods towards the good of the relationship, you will not thrive and flourish in life. It's just not going to happen. You're going to constantly be stressed out, constantly be overwhelmed. You're going to feel like you're being taken advantage of. You're going to be taking it out on the other person, which naturally you should. Not in a bad way, but it's just a natural process. Number 13 is never you never thought about what you actually wanted about a partnership. Now, and I know that's probably something that I really never thought about it until maybe about a year ago, and I started thinking about these things. I'm like, hey, what do I want out of a relationship? You know, what can I benefit? What would feed my soul? So I started to think about it, and I've started to, you know, date people that do feed my soul. It's almost kind of like an eHarmony type thing or whatever, you know what I mean? Like you're whittling down, you know, what is good and what is not good. You need to seriously think about it and write yourself a list. If you're single now and you're trying to figure out why you're in toxic relationships, why you keep ending up in toxic relationships, write yourself a freaking list. I'm serious. Write your list of what is acceptable and is not acceptable. What you're looking for a relationship and what you're not looking for in a relationship. And I know that sounds silly, but trust me, it makes a hell of a lot more sense. When you start writing those things down and then you come into contact with somebody that you could potentially spend your life with, you can refer back to that list and say, hey, you know, on the sneaky side, you know, let me look at this list. Oh, you know. And if more is bad than good, get out. Just get out. Get out before it's too late. And then it causes more problems, it's more hectic, it's more stress to be able to get out of the relationship. Number 14 is you went too fast. Everything's just moving so fast in today's society, and it's important that you slow the fuck down. Slow down. If that person really likes you, they'll wait a month or a year or whatever. If that person's, I'm not saying make people wait that long for no freaking reason or whatsoever. I'm just saying, slow down. 2 weeks into the relationship, you don't have to move in together. A week into the relationship, you don't have to, you know, change your marriage status or whatever. Just slow down. Make sure you're making the right decision, because like I said before, this is a lifelong decision. You got to make sure it's the right one. You don't want to get together to get apart. You don't want to get married to get divorced. You want to get these, you want to push for these type of relationships to be able to last. And for it to do that, it takes time to understand the other person and what their needs are, what their values are, what their morals are, what they look for in a relationship, as well as all those things for yourself. The next thing, number 15, is you didn't love yourself first. Now I know that sounds probably stupid for a lot of you, and you're like, well, whatever, that doesn't have anything to do with it. It really, really, really does. I'm going to rudely take a drink of coffee, I'm sorry. If you don't begin to love yourself first, you can't love another completely. We all have insecurities, things we don't like about ourselves, and I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, if you can't look in the mirror and say, hey, you know what? I'm a great person. I do great things for people. I feed my soul. I do things for myself. I love, you know, who I am. My character is really cool. I love everything about myself. If you can't do those things, and I'm not saying it's ever going to be perfect, but if the majority of things that are coming out of your mind or heart or soul aren't positive, you probably will end up in a relationship that is going to feed those negative sides of whatever that lack of love is. And it's important that you realize that once you build those things up, you won't need those out of a relationship. You can work on the companionship, the love, the friendship, the affection, you know, spending time with somebody or whatever. You can work on all of those things rather than trying to feed all the bad stuff. So definitely keep that in mind. The next thing is, number 16, and I believe this is my final thing, is you're afraid to change or don't think you can. Now, I know that sounds silly, but a lot of us get stuck in our routines. We think, you know, hey, this is the way it is. This is the way it's got to be because it's been like this for so long. Unfortunately, that is absolutely false. If something has been negative for so long, that does not make it a positive. If I go down, 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 down into the negative for years in numbers, does it ever flip back to turn to a positive? Absolutely not. It doesn't. So you need to remember, don't be afraid of change. A lot of the times, just making the decision and snapping your fingers and doing it, cutting it dry, just being a new you can seriously liberate your entire life. Don't wait till you're 60 or 70 or 80 or 50 or 45. Don't wait till next month. If it's toxic, get the hell out or get help, because God forbid something could happen. You know, some kind of violent situation. You guys can end up killing each other. Like all kinds of, you could beat each other up. You could treat each other like crap. And I know I started on the extreme end of all that, but it's important that you realize that you deserve to be loved in a positive manner. You really do. And even if that means being out of a relationship and loving yourself in that positive manner, I promise you that's going to nourish your soul and your being and who you are much more effectively than being in a negative situation long enough to think that it turned into something positive, because it didn't. You guys, I hope you guys like our video. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel. If you're new here, go check out our Facebook group called Healthy Living for a Healthy Life, and have a beautiful day. Check out the links in the description below. Let me know either about your story or what you would like to hear next. Have a beautiful day, guys. Peace.